I mean, we're gonna get into what happened with the ICE situation. Now, CNN, shout out to CNN, they did a great breakdown of what happened step by step. I wanted to look at that.
And now that new video, as I said, it is so crucial because it was filmed by the ICE agent involved, but also.
Let me properly introduce the topic. So, by now, you guys have all heard about the shooting with ICE and the woman, Renee Nicole, that got shot in the face and died. Pretty much was just dropping her kid off to school. And I'm going to look at this video too, because I still want to know exactly what happened here and what even resulted in, her car being stopped and her trying to pull off, and it resulted in an ICE agent shooting her in the face and killing her.
So, because in that, it is providing an angle we have not seen before. And it does give a whole new perspective. It also, though, raises new questions. Kyung La is going to go through this slowly, bit by bit, out front with this special investigation to look at every piece of video, that one and all the others, to say, what is the story here? And of course, I warn you, when you put all of these together, you will have to see what happened again and again.
Out of the car.
For the first time, we are seeing the fatal Minneapolis shooting from the ICE officer's point of view, footage taken on his own cell phone. It's a critical angle of many cameras on the street that captured Renee Good's fatal encounter with ICE agent Jonathan Ross. Using surveillance footage, bystander video, and Ross's own phone, CNN synced multiple perspectives of the shooting and mapped this incident in 3D space. Taken together, they show the fullest picture yet of what happened that day. A home surveillance camera captures the moment Renee Good pulls up in a maroon-colored Honda SUV 4 minutes before the shooting. 20 seconds after she arrives, her passenger and wife, Becca, wearing a white beanie, gets out of Good's car. Good then parks the SUV perpendicular in the road. Here's how Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem described what Good did.
ICE officers and agents approached the vehicle of the individual in question, who was blocking the officers in with her vehicle, and she had been stalking and impeding their work all throughout the day.
Available video doesn't show any possible contact Good may have had with ICE before this confrontation. What this video does show is that for a few minutes, while she is perpendicular to the roadway, several vehicles drive by. Even large SUVs are able to drive around her as she moves back and forth on the street. And that includes this light-colored SUV. It slowly drives around Good's car from the rear and stops. Agent Jonathan Ross is recording video from his cell phone as he crosses in front of Good's car, recording as he sees her up close. She looks calm, and you can see both of her hands as she talks to the officer.
That's fine, dude. I'm not mad at you.
Renee Good's wife, Becca, who had been the passenger in the car, approaches. Cell phone cameras on the street start recording as Ross walks around Good's car with Good's wife following.
I said go get yourself some lunch, big boy. Go ahead.
Renee Good backs her car up as the agent walks around the front of the vehicle. At the same time, on the other side, 2 more agents approach. One tries to open the door as Good backs up. Good's vehicle starts moving. From Ross's cell phone video, you see Becca, the woman in the white beanie, trying to get into the car again. You also see Renee Good turning the steering wheel to the right.
Get out of the car.
She then accelerates. Slowing this down again and matching the exact time of these 2 angles. This angle appears to show the vehicle moving close to the agent. But in this angle, he does not appear to be in the path of the vehicle when he fired.
Thank you. I appreciate that. So just from looking at this from right here, she was just trying to pull off. even from the angle that they just showed. See, this is what I hate about my player on here on when I do live shit. I can't just run it back that little couple of inches or whatever. Streaming nowadays, I tell you. Actually, I could do this though. I could do this. It's gonna be ads and shit, but I could do this.
Congrats.
The only thing I fucking hate about YouTube is that their need for paid ads for something like this. But
After she arrives, her passenger and wife, Becca, wearing a white beanie, gets out of
all throughout the day.
this light, both of her hands as she talks to the officer.
That's fine, dude.
yeah, so just plan to bring it back to right here a little bit. Just wish I was able to use my actual fucking player.
Renee Good's wife, Becca, who had been the passenger in the car, approaches. Cell phone cameras on the street start recording as Ross walks around Good's car with Good's wife following.
I said go get
What
yourself
I'm saying is none of this, absolutely none of this, warranted a gun being pointed at her in a car.
some lunch, big boy. Go ahead.
Renee Good backs her car up as the agent walks around the front of the vehicle.
Look at that. She's trying to leave. Like at this point now, ICE is blocking her. Like you can see how wide even the street is. They could have just drove around her.
Same time on the other side, two more agents approach. One tries to open the door as Good backs up.
Like this is what this is why this was unnecessary. Like now you're just trying to pull her out the car aggressively, and then this guy over here in the front, he moves to the left side. So it wasn't like Nicole was trying to run him over. Nicole was just trying to get out the way.
Good's vehicle starts moving. From Ross's cell phone video, you see Becca, the woman in the white beanie, trying to get into the car again. You also see Renee Good turning the steering wheel to the right.
Get out of the car.
She then accelerates, slowing this down again and matching the exact time of these two angles. This angle appears to show the vehicle moving close to the agent. But in this angle, he does not appear to be in the path of the vehicle when he fired.
That's what that's why I'm irate about this whole thing. He wasn't even hit. He wasn't about to be hit. He was already on the side of the vehicle. Yes, from the other angle, it looks like he got brushed by the car. But he was in clear way of jumping out of the way, number one. Number two, he didn't have to be standing in front of the vehicle with his gun already out. He already had a gun up to the window of the vehicle.
Seconds later, Becca Good runs to her wife, followed by the agent who fired his weapon. He briefly looks into the driver's side of the car and then walks away.
Of course he walks away, because he knew what the fuck he did.
Shame!
Now, what we cannot see in Ross's cell phone video is if the SUV made contact with the agent because the camera angle jerks up to the sky. But DHS still says it supports the agency's initial position, releasing the statement saying, quote, the footage corroborates what DHS has stated all along, that this individual was impeding law enforcement and weaponized her vehicle in an attempt to kill or cause bodily harm to federal law enforcement. The officer was in fear of his own life, the lives of his fellow officers, and acted in self-defense. The American people can watch this video with their own eyes and ears and judge for themselves. The shooting itself, Aaron, is also not visible. You do, though, hear 3 gunshots. Aaron.
All right, Kyung La, thank you very much. That is incredible work. Just to see all that put together. Everyone's here with me. Joey, does that change anything? Obviously, this new video is a new perspective, but then just as Kyung has reconstructed frame by frame those crucial instances from all the perspectives we now have.
I think it's problematic for the officers with respect to justifying the force, and I'll explain why. The first thing is, let's talk about the policy. I do have the Department of Justice policy, which talks about the preservation of life, but it also talks about the obligation to get out of the path of the vehicle, right? Not to stand and shoot. It talks about getting out of the path of the vehicle, and it also talks about de-escalation. Why is that significant?
Before he even gets to it, this is part of the whole protect and serve that these people with these badges are supposed to uphold. Okay? That's the part of their job they're supposed to uphold. Like I said before, the guy already had his gun out and drawn before she even pulled off. Before she pulled off, his gun was up at her head. That was the reason why she decided to accelerate the vehicle. She saw a fucking gun being aimed at her. So the officer already ignored any part of de-escalation that he was supposed to administer there. He didn't even attempt to calm her down. They aggressively went up to her door trying to rip her out of the car already. She was scared with a gun up to her face already.
I don't see much de-escalation there. That's important. I hear words to the effect of effing bitch. That goes to me to state of mind. So
exactly. You already cursing her out with a gun up to her face. Like, of course, she's now getting nervous behind the wheel of her vehicle. It's not like she's going to get out. She don't know what y'all going to do to her.
If you're not
of the officer,
of the
he's
officer,
saying that.
right? I mean, so it's one thing to defend yourself. It's another thing to be angry and use animus with regard to employing force. The other thing that's troubling to me is that if you're not standing in front of the vehicle, but if it seems to be, I'm not saying it, it's what the video shows, you're off to the side of the vehicle, then how is it representing an imminent threat to death or physical injury? The other issue is you have to justify every projectile. If you're shooting a projectile and the car's not coming at you, what's the basis? And if you're shooting into the window when the vehicle's going away from you, that's further problematic as well. So it goes against the notion of immediate fear of death or serious injury. It goes against the notion of the proportionality of the force. And finally, Aaron, it goes against the issue of it being reasonable. So as I see this, it's a problem to me for the officer, even though the White House says there's nothing to see here. There is plenty to see from my perspective.
So much to see. I mean, John, because also one thing you see her do, well, there's a couple things that would show. First of all, her wife, Renee's wife, moves to get in the car, which would indicate they're leaving, which they were told to do, right? She moves to get into the car at that moment, stop filming. Okay, number one. Number two, then you see her on the officer, turn her wheel sharply away from him. That's
the other part that nobody's talking about yet. She wasn't trying to hit him. That's why I keep saying that it wasn't warranted it was not warranted for a gun to be even aimed at her. She wasn't trying to hit him at all. She was just trying to get away from the gun being pointed at her.
And then the acceleration. Now, I know every single instant is going to matter in terms of what really happened, but there's no mistaking what she's doing with the wheel.
Only if you're looking at it. And we don't know whether in his tunnel vision he was focused on her or the front of that vehicle.
I really wish they would talk about that part. No one seems to be bringing up the part that there was a gun aimed at her before she even pulled off.
But what we do know is the value of this video is it's another angle.
Yep.
We came to conclusions which are now questioned when we looked at the first video because we got a second video. This would be a third video, which is instructive in a different way. What do we get out of this? We get three things. One, we get that it's not a high-tension situation. She's smiling and saying, I'm not mad. And her friend is taunting them, but saying, here's our license plate. We're not wearing
Right, we don't change our license plate. By the way, awareness of if you want to come and get us later, go ahead.
Right.
You have the license number.
So, I mean, tensions at that point are low. As he comes around the car, the officers who pull up in the pickup truck are saying, out of the car, out of the car. They're grabbing one door handle, which is locked. She starts to accelerate. Her wife is on the other door handle, which is also locked. And if you look at that video, here it is. When we come around to the front of that car, this is a different video. Yeah. When we come around to the front of that car, which we'll do in a minute, you see that if you're the agent, his point of view is, The car is now moving forward. He unholsters his weapon, and you see the car moving towards him. Then you lose sight because the phone goes down as the gun comes up.
Yeah.
But you hear an impact, what sounds like an impact, which leans towards the officer's account and DHS's assertion that the vehicle made contact with him.
Right.
And you hear a groan. And simultaneous with that, not separate, you hear these 3 shots. At the end of the day, the 3 things they're going to have to consider are they in policy with the agency? Probably not. Were the tactics good? It would have been easier to leave your weapon holster and get out of the way than to end up in this confrontation. But was it legal? Did he feel threatened in the moment he pulled the trigger?
Gil, what do you see there?
Well, there's nothing that a city police officer would do in that situation that approximates what the ICE agent did.
Thank you. Somebody finally said it, and of course, probably one of the oldest guys in there said it. There's nothing that a regular law enforcement would have done there. A regular police officer wouldn't have even had the authority to shoot someone there. So why the fuck does ICE all of a sudden have the authority to shoot people on fucking sight like this? That is the part that is the most important. Why is ICE so easily getting away with being able to shoot them as if they are higher than the fucking FBI out here?
Meaning in terms of the level of force.
They've all been trained to get out of the way of a car.
Yeah, not only the level of force, but all of the other tactics. I mean, there is one reason that the president, the vice president, and the secretary are so hyperbolic over this, because they want to get out from and away from this as fast as possible. This is their worst case scenario of a white woman, a mother, being shot by ICE agents, a U.S. citizen. And so that's their...
I like how he emphasized that part too. A white woman got shot. A white woman and a mother got shot. We ain't talking about just somebody black, somebody Spanish that they were trying to detain, somebody Chinese. Talking about a regular. He emphasized that part. A white woman got shot here. Okay, we don't have to go down the whole pyramid scheme of how they look at certain people and certain races and whatnot, because we all know that's one of the main things that they would never try to do is shoot somebody white. We got to call that spade a spade. And for them to fuck up like this live on footage like that, yes, this is definitely going to radicalize the people. I agree with you. This is definitely going to radicalize the people. I can definitely see there's going to be some type of retaliation. If it's not on this neighborhood's part, it's going to be somewhere else. This is what we're looking at is literally, I want to be on record saying this. What we are looking at here is the start of the Civil War. Remember that Illuminati card game I was showing y'all? And it specifically had the Civil War. And also I was breaking down, y'all, the steps of Project Bluebeam. And I said, yo, the first thing they got to do is the Civil War. After the Civil War comes World War III. After World War III comes the big show. This is the beginning of the big show. This is the start of the process with the Civil War being started. I thought the Civil War was started a couple of years ago when everybody, when Mike Brown, Sandra Bland, it's so many of them. It's so many names. Brittany Jones? It's so many names that got killed that year. So many black people. I'm trying to remember the name of the guy that got that had the knee on his neck when all that was happening. George Floyd. When all that was happening, I said to myself, "Yo, this might spark the Civil War." But if anything is going to spark the Civil War, it is this.
Is to get away from it. And they say, well, you know, the American people can look at this video and make their own decisions. Unfortunately for the administration, the American people have already looked at this video and they have made a determination about this. This is their Kent State moment.
So, Joey, I mean, to what Gil is saying, when you look at it, and I understand what you're saying, John, the kind of second by second, milliseconds are going to matter. And in the millisecond, did he feel scared? Suddenly something goes from this level to this level. Okay. But I guess what you see when you look at this, and I don't know how you can't see it, Joey, is that it didn't have to end this way. Right? He could have stepped away, as angry as he may have been in that moment, and she would have driven off because she had turned the wheel. They could have arrested her. They could do whatever they wanted to do later. They had as her wife said, you got our license number.
Yes. So look, you never want to give condemnation to police or law enforcement. At the same time, you want to act reasonably. And I think people have a right to believe that if they're ICE agents or anyone else, the first objective is this notes, is the preservation of life. And when you see a situation where you have an officer firing where they're off to the side of the car, it refutes and disputes a narrative that the car is coming at me. Now, let's just say that was the case. Then you parse this. Was the first shot, right, was that then potentially okay or justified, right? Now, that'll be an open question. But what about the other shot when you're clearly on the side of the car into the driver's side? How is that justified? Where's the immediate of the threat there?
If you get stuck on,
that's the other part that I really wanted to address as well. It's like, what if you missed? What if you missed her and shot her wife? What if you missed and shot an innocent bystander that was just sitting there?
What you're about to see is disturbing. There is crude language in this. This is graphic, and we do not know the context around this. We don't know what happened before this video.
This is the raw footage of it happening.
No! No! Shame! Shame! Oh my God! What the f? What the f? You just what the f did you do?
Protesters are gathering at the scene at this hour. DHS Secretary Kristi Noem said this about the incident a short time ago.
It was an act of domestic terrorism. What happened was our ICE officers were out in an enforcement action. They got stuck in the snow because of the
Domestic terrorism. Wow. This is why I made the post I made earlier. I got tears in my eyes just watching this shit. I made the post that I made earlier in regards to this. I said the same exact thing. We are at a point now with America. We're not protecting and serving our people. We're just aiming to kill and control them. I must go on record saying that again. America is not trying to help its people and protect them. America is aiming to kill and control us. They're not trying to protect anymore. This is clear evidence of them throwing protection and serving out the fucking window. This is blatant. We don't care anymore. This is why I kept saying this exact point to y'all. They are at a point where they don't care anymore. You are going to start seeing more and more extreme shit happening. I specifically played that Pac song. It's going to be some stuff you're going to see in the near future. It's going to make it hard to smile in the future. It's some stuff you're going to see that's going to make it hard to smile in the future. And this is exactly what I was referring to. There's no longer a protect and serve with America. It is aiming to control and kill us all. Keep humanity under 500 million, as the Georgia Guidestones say. The elites heavily go by those Georgia Guidestones. For them to say domestic terrorism is just, I'm beyond disbelief for her even saying that.
The adverse weather that is in Minneapolis, they were attempting to push out their vehicle and a woman attacked them and those surrounding them.
A woman attacked them. Did y'all see a woman attack anybody there? I saw a woman driving off in fear of her life that unfortunately still got fucking taken from her because of you bastard fucks.
And attempted to run them over. And
the mayor of Minneapolis is also speaking out, calling that
I'm so glad they cut her dumb ass off.
Official line from federal authorities a lie.
They are already trying to spin this as an action of self-defense. Having seen the video of myself, I want to tell everybody directly, that is
private student loan debt wrecking your
mayor.
life? You really need.
That's the fucking mayor saying, yo, fuck YouTube and these ads, bro. They worst timing ever with some of these shits. But that's coming from the mayor. They're trying to spin this as self-defense. It's bull. That's the mayor saying that. It's bullshit.
Whitney, what more are officials there saying?
Well, as you heard, it was a profanity-laced press conference from Mayor Jacob Frey. Very angry. He believes that the narrative coming out from the Department of Homeland Security is simply untrue. The Department of Homeland Security said in a statement earlier that this was their narrative that they laid out, that this person had, basically was trying to block these ICE vehicles as they were conducting a targeted operation. They say that the vehicle drove toward an agent who feared for his life and feared for the life of other officers and members of the public and discharged a firearm. They are saying that this shooting was, based on their statement, it appears they believe that this shooting was completely justified. Obviously, Mayor Jacob Frey has a completely different perspective on that. You have seen this video. We are still getting more video from people who are on the ground here. I spoke with one man who saw it play out, and that man told me that he did not see anything that he believed suggested that any of those ICE agents were ever in grave danger. Let me walk you through what we're seeing here on the ground right now. There has been a crowd here for several hours in the aftermath of the shooting. People here are very angry. What you're hearing now is, a lot of anger that's being directed toward the Minneapolis Police Department. We've seen multiple federal law enforcement agencies on scene here, the FBI, the U.S. Marshals, Customs and Border Patrol. Locally, we're seeing the Hennepin County Sheriff's Office and the Minneapolis Police Department. It looks like actually they're taking away some of the barricades that they had before here, so I'm not clear on if they're condensing this scene at all, but this is interesting because before they had, you might not be able to see it, but before they had bike racks here and they appear to be taking it away, so it's possible that they feel like this scene has been analyzed and they're ready to move out here. Can you see them taking the bike racks and putting them on the back of the vehicle? But I think that signals that they're getting closer to feeling like this investigation is wrapped up. Again, this crowd is very angry. I spoke with multiple people today who say that they did not ask for this. They're angry. ICE is here. They were scared something like this would happen, and now they know that a member of their own community has lost her life. A 37-year-old woman has lost her life today. Again, this all comes amid this ramped-up immigration effort here where DHS has 2,000 DHS agents are spread throughout the Twin Cities. Again, their largest immigration operation to date. Again, people here in Minneapolis are very angry, and we're very angry about that operation at all. Now today, their anger is heightened. And right now, it is being directed toward the Minneapolis Police Department, who they think in this moment is protecting ICE and not them. So a lot of anger here in Minneapolis. Back to you.
All right, Whitney, we know it's probably difficult for you to hear us, but we could certainly hear your report, and we thank you for it there. Let's turn now to Josh Campbell. And as Whitney noted, Josh, this is a ramped up recent immigration effort. DHS Secretary Kristi Noem was in Minneapolis yesterday highlighting it. Earlier today, before we heard from local and state officials, we heard from DHS Secretary Noem, who was saying that the ICE officers were out in an enforcement action. They got stuck in the snow because of the adverse weather that is in Minneapolis. They were attempting to push out their vehicle, and a woman attacked them and those surrounding them and attempted to run them over and ram them with her vehicle. Walk us through the video, because a lot of people are going to look at this. And again, there's a lot of context around it. We don't know, but they're going to look at this and they're going to have questions about whether it matches with what we're hearing from Kristi Noem.
That's right. And she also quickly came out and declared this an act of domestic terrorism, which objectively, if you look at that video and what we see, there is no indication yet and no proof that the Department of Homeland Security or the Secretary have provided that this is domestic terrorism, which means violence in pursuit of a political aim. This is a very legalistic term. We know that in the past, Noem has had issues, for example, struggling with the concept of habeas corpus when she was testifying before Congress. But that's important because for her, the top official, to declare this domestic terrorism means that there are potential other ramifications. And again, what we see in the video is it appears that these ICE agents approach this woman who were in her car. They're attempting to get her out of the vehicle. We know that she was not the subject of an enforcement action itself. And so there will be a question about why they were attempting to detain her. But as the vehicle then moves away, you actually see her turn the wheel, the tires go to the right. And so again, that question is raised. If her goal was to run down a federal agent and she had the opportunity of one standing there in front of her, why did she then cut the wheel to the car to try to get away? So a big question.
Thank you. If she was going to hit somebody, she would have turned the car to the left and actually aimed the car at the guy. She tried to just turn away as she had a gun pointed to her face already.
There. But the actions of that officer himself will also be obviously under review. Legally, agents can use deadly force whenever the subject of that force poses an imminent threat to themselves or someone else. That agent has to articulate what the threat was. Now, we do see in that vehicle, from that video, that the vehicle does appear to make contact with that agent. So at that point, under policy, the agent could articulate, look, I was in fear for my life. I have this vehicle coming at me. But there will also be a big question, which every law enforcement officer from coast to coast knows. A lot of this comes down to judgment. Just because you can do something, should you? Could that agent have moved out of the way if this is someone who was, fleeing and didn't, it wasn't an indication of any other type of violence? Brianna, a good point that I also want to raise, which you had brought up, was the proximity of other agents who were near the gunfire that erupted. We saw just, that agent near the window that was mere inches from where the direction of travel of that bullet would have been. I'm here in Los Angeles, where we had recently another incident where an immigration agent was attempting to take a suspect into custody. The agent opens fire. He shoots the suspect. He also shoots a U.S. Marshal that is there trying to help with the immigration detention. And so there have been a lot of big questions raised about these aggressive tactics by these immigration agents. Are they operating under lawful order? Obviously, the president says yes. This is his big push across the country to try to crack down on unlawful immigration. But the question of how these agents are going about it certainly have raised a lot of eyebrows, even within the law enforcement community itself. And now, obviously, we're seeing this very questionable incident play out here. Last point I'll make is that if past as any type of prologue, we probably won't see this agent prosecuted because the DHS secretary has already publicly exonerated him and said that this agent was in fear for his life, which is unusual because anytime a federal agent opens fire in this country, typically we see a lengthy investigation, weeks, sometimes months, sometimes a year. Here we already have time.
Like, he's not even going to go to trial for this shit. That's the part that, like I said, I'm trying to get across to everybody. This officer isn't being detained. He's not going to go on trial for this. There's not going to be any arrests made. There's no long investigation going to be done. Nothing. They're just saying, oh, no, it's self-defense. It's warranted because it's ICE. Huh?
Top officials coming out mere hours after it happened saying the agent was right.
Josh Campbell, thank you so much for that context. Let's go to Whitney Wild, who's now been able to access the actual site, the scene of where the shooting transpired after investigators towed the car away, the vehicle away, and finished their work on that site. Whitney, what are you seeing?
Right now, we're seeing people come and put flowers and incense where this woman died. Boris, this is a striking scene. There is still blood in the snow. That is how fresh
my
this scene
God.
still is. This is not something that Minneapolis
You can
residents
see
will
it too.
forget.
You can
This
literally
is
see the blood in
a
the
poignant
snow.
moment here in Minneapolis. As people I've spoken with point out to me, they never asked for this. They never wanted this. And now here we are reporting on the loss, they say, of one of their own, of their 37-year-old neighbor, a friend, who has lost her life after this shooting with an ICE agent. Boris, again, we are here at Portland Avenue and between East 34th and East 33rd. And this is the first time members of the public are getting to see actually where this woman.
I need to hear what. I need to hear the mayor.
Hi, my name is Tami.
I need to hear this mayor real quick. Cause I like how he's already.
Get the fuck out of Minneapolis. We do not want you here. Your stated reason for being in this city is to create some kind of safety, and you are doing exactly the opposite.
Thank you.
There's a lot of information that is swirling around right now, and we collectively are going to do everything possible to get to the bottom of this, to get justice, and to make sure that there is an investigation that is conducted in full. But what we do know is that a 37-year-old woman is dead and that she was shot by ICE.
She my age.
We've dreaded this moment since the early stages of this ICE presence in Minneapolis. Not only is this a concern that we've had internally, we've been talking about it. They are not here to cause safety in this city. What they are doing is not to provide safety in America. What they are doing is causing chaos and distrust. They're ripping families apart. They're sowing chaos on our streets. And in this case, quite literally killing people. So, they are already trying to spin this as an action of self-defense. Having seen the video of myself, I want to tell everybody directly, that is bullshit. This was an agent recklessly using power that resulted in somebody dying, getting killed. As soon as it happened and we learned of the incident, we had several priorities. The first, of course.
If I was any type of human, even if I was going to be killed myself back then, I hope one of those ICE agents walked up to that officer and punched him dead in his fucking face. I hope somebody walk up to him and I hope he's just sitting in his house with security around him, because if he was to walk outside to Walmart and somebody know who he is, I think people by now have seen his picture and whatnot. Dog, I hope somebody punch you in your fucking face for the rest of your life, bruh. Every second somebody just duff you in your shit.
Was to get the victim to the hospital and to get care as soon as possible.
Yeah, I said it.
To the family, I'm so deeply sorry. There's nothing that I can say right now that's going to make you or your relatives or the friends of the victim feel any better.
I hope it happened to somebody
two
he
Minneapolis
know.
police officers that
Just so
responded,
he can understand what he did.
and were in the ambulance on the way to the hospital. The second was to get ICE off of the scene. There were dozens, if not hundreds, of ICE and federal officers that were there at the time. Having them there was only causing more chaos. Having them there was only making a difficult situation even more problematic, and one that, yes, they created themselves. There's little I can say, again, that'll make this situation better, but I do have a message for our community, for our city, and I have a message for ICE. To ICE, get the fuck out of Minneapolis. We do not want you here. Your stated reason for being in this city is to create some kind of safety, and you are doing exactly the opposite. People are being hurt. Families are being ripped apart. long-term Minneapolis residents that have contributed so greatly to our city, to our culture, to our economy are being terrorized, and now somebody is dead. That's on you. And it's also on you to leave. It's on you to make sure that further damage, further loss of life and injury is not done. We're going to be working towards justice as quickly as we possibly can right now, and justice is what we've all got to get. Next, a message to our community. Look, we all know that the agenda of this Trump administration is to create chaos. Let us respond right now with our best versions of self. This is a moment where all of us in Minneapolis and beyond, we can rise to the occasion. We can show them who we are. We can show them the kind of courage, bravery, love, and compassion that makes Minneapolis, Minneapolis, and that makes America, America. We are better than a bunch of ICE agents being deployed to cities around the country and ripping apart families and communities. We're better than that. And so we are going to meet that hate with love. We are going to meet that despair with hope. We are going to meet that injustice with constitutional justice ourselves. And we're going to make sure that in this very difficult moment, we do not take the bait that these ICE agents are trying to create and that the federal government, to be clear, wants. They want us to respond in a way that creates a military occupation in our city. They want an excuse to come in and show the kind of force that will create more chaos and more despair. Let's not let them. Let's rise to this occasion. Let's show them something far more beautiful than the kind of division that they're trying to stoke. Let's show them unity of purpose, of love, and the courage of our conviction. Our conviction, to be clear, is rock solid, and it is for our neighbors, all of our neighbors. It's for people who have lived here for 80 years. It is for new immigrants who have made this city a better place. That's the kind of love that we're going to show up with right now. If you're angry, I get it. I am too. If you're feeling that kind of despair, it's understandable. Let's show them who we can be. Let's show up with peace. To march, to protest, to hug one another, to love all the way with peace. Do not give them what they want.
All I wanted was a zero minimum manufacturer, and then I found Tap Stitch.
The ads, I tell you, they're wrong, guys.
Finally, we've got a lot of work that needs to happen right now to make sure that, first, of course, the scene was secured as much as possible, that we were able to get the victim, now deceased, to the hospital. We've got a lot of work to do in the coming days. I want to thank our city enterprise for the work that they have done, but more importantly, what they're about to do, because this is going to be heavy and our city has been through a lot. We also know that we're prepared to do right for people. Among them is our chief of police. I'll invite him up.
My name is Brian O'Hara, BRIANO''HARA. I am the Minneapolis Police Chief. This morning, Minneapolis police officers received a report of federal law enforcement being involved in a deadly force incident, meaning shots had been fired. Minneapolis police officers responded to the scene. We arrived and found a woman with a gunshot wound to the head. Life-saving measures were performed at the scene, including CPR. The woman was transported to Hennepin County Medical Center, where she has since been pronounced deceased. The preliminary information that we have indicates that this woman was in her vehicle and was blocking the roadway on Portland Avenue, midway between 33rd Street and 34th Street in the city. At some point, a federal law enforcement officer approached her on foot, and the vehicle began to drive off. At least 2 shots were fired. The vehicle then crashed on the side of the roadway. Minneapolis police officers secured the crime scene and assisted in trying to preserve the evidence that is there. We have since turned over the scene both to the Federal Bureau of Investigation as well as the Minnesota Bureau of Criminal Apprehension, which will be conducting an investigation into this use of deadly force. I want to thank the mayor, city council president, other members of the city council, state legislators that were on the scene. This has been a very difficult time for everyone in the city. And this is obviously a very, very tragic situation where a woman has lost her life. That being said, in addition to this tragedy, which unfortunately we did predict, we were seriously concerned about further escalation from the scene. And I want to thank the elected officials that came themselves to help us prevent that from happening, as well as the individuals on that scene that remained peaceful and that abided by law enforcement instructions so that we could preserve that scene and ensure that a full and transparent investigation can take place. That being said, I just echo the mayor's comments that we ask that the community continue to call for peace. We understand people are going to be upset about what happened, and people are going to want to exercise their First Amendment rights. But please do so safely and lawfully to ensure that we do not have any further tragedy in this city or destruction. Thank you.
What is faith?
I'm still fucked up over it. I'm still fucked up over it. I'm fucked up over this, yo. That's what I'm saying. Like, if when you got the police actually upset over this shit, like, you got regular law enforcement even saying, and then the guy said it on the newscast, like, yo, regular police wouldn't even done this. That's what makes this even worse. Is that regular police wouldn't have done this. And dare I even play this shit right here? Dare I even play this?
I was actually walking out here. Somebody sent me a photo of a CNN headline about what happened in Minneapolis. And this is the headline. I'm just going to read it. Outrage after ICE officer kills U.S. citizen in Minneapolis. Well, that's one way to put it, and that is the way that many people in the corporate media have put this attack over the last 24 hours. And I say attack.
Let me say this loud and clear. Fuck you, J.D. Vance. For you to even say the corporate media, you bitch ass nigga, you are the corporate media. That's the part that sickens me about this whole self-defense shit. The nerve of y'all saying domestic terrorism and the nerve of you saying the corporate media when you are and the government is the corporate media. So fuck you, J.D. Vance.
Very, very intentionally, because this was an attack on federal law enforcement. This was an attack on law and order. This was an attack on the American people. The way that the media, by and large, has reported this story has been an absolute disgrace, and it puts our law enforcement officers at risk every single day.
No, it doesn't, because you just heard law enforcement saying, yo, y'all, what y'all did was absolutely wrong.
What that headline leaves out is the fact that that very ICE officer nearly had his life ended, dragged by a...
No, it fucking didn't. You act like he was in front, direct front of the car and almost got dragged on it like he actually got hit. This is why I keep saying, fuck you, J.D. Vance.
Car 6 months ago, 33 stitches in his leg. So you think maybe he's a little bit sensitive about somebody ramming him with an automobile? What that headline leaves out is that that woman was there to interfere with a legitimate law enforcement operation in the United States of America. What that headline leaves out is that that woman is part of a broader left-wing network to attack, to dox, to assault and to make it impossible for our ICE officers to do their job. If the media wants to tell the truth, they ought to tell the truth that a group of left-wing radicals have been working tirelessly, sometimes using domestic terror techniques to try to make it impossible for the President of the United States to do what the American people elected him to do, which is enforce our immigration laws. The President stands with ICE. I stand with ICE. We stand with all of our law enforcement officers. And part of that is recognizing that you people in the media, not everybody in this room, but many people in this room have been lying about this attack. She was trying to ram this guy with her car. He shot back. He defended himself. He's already been seriously wounded in law enforcement operations before, and everybody who's been repeating the lie that this is some innocent woman who was out for a drive in Minneapolis when a law enforcement officer shot at her, you should be ashamed of yourselves.
Again. And I ain't ashamed to say. I ain't ashamed to say at all. Fuck you, JD Vance. For even looking at this like it was, like I said, for even looking at it the way you did. I will always say, I will always go on record saying, fuck how the government think. I go against the grain every day when I come on this pod with this. Because I still, like I said, it bothers me how much they're not even going to even do an investigation. It's, matter of fact, not even that part. It bothers me how much this is just the beginning of things, and how much they're actually trying to defend the actual ICE agent that did this. It bothers me how much they're defending him. As I said, I hope it happens to somebody he know. I know violence doesn't beget more violence. Violence is never the answer. At the same time, karma is karma. I will go on record saying that. Karma is karma. I wish I didn't have to end it on a bad note, but at the same time, I already did the Desmond Scott and Christy Scott situation. If you guys want to look at that, it is in the beginning. If it cut off, I'll do another clip of it or whatever. But yeah, as I said before, so no, it's not a lot of people in here on a Saturday night, of course. But as I said before, there's some stuff you're going to see that's going to make it hard to smile in the future, in the words of Pop. That's just the truth. That is just the truth of this whole thing. Shout out to those that do donate to the podcast. I put the cash up there. Shout out to those that do donate to help the podcast out. Legitimately, if you do, when you do send something to my Cash App, it helps food go in the refrigerator and me helping me get back and forth to work and keeping the lights on here at the crib. And me investing into, of course, the lights and, trying to make it look a little better in here for you guys. But other than that, like I said, I don't get paid to do this shit. I don't get paid to do this pod. I don't get paid to talk against the grain of the government. I do that because it's always fuck the government with me. As I've said in my posts, I would like to save up to move to Thailand or another country because America is getting to the point where everybody need to leave. Obama didn't make a documentary telling y'all to leave for nothing. I want to be very clear when I say that. Obama made y'all a Netflix movie that literally was telling y'all, get the fuck out of America. Obama ain't make that movie just to tell y'all get the fuck out of America for nothing. If a former president is telling you get the fuck out of America for a reason, you better take heed to it. And this is one of the reasons why we all should get the fuck out of America. not just minorities, not just black people, not just white people, not just China. Everybody should get the fuck out of America. Leave the world behind. You're right. Leave this shit behind. It ain't worth it. This ain't the home of the free no more. It's the home of the controlled. And if you don't want to be controlled, you get killed for it.